Who cares about the Queen dying? How about all those Michigan State fans who traveled from Michigan, from the West Coast, from down south, from the East Coast to Seattle, to the fucking tip, the top left corner of the country, to watch them get curb stomped by an unranked Washington team? Who cares that a lady who was 98 years old and anybody with a brain knew was going to croak any minute now finally decided to go through with the damn thing? Oh, that's too bad. Now her family just has to remain in power in England for the rest of eternity to come. That's such a shame. You can't buy bread in England because of that. How come you can buy bread in the United States when I just put my blood, sweat, and tears into this weekend and I was greeted with, welcome to Seattle. Here's a fucking flaming turd of a football game. That's your thanks. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for making the trip, spending the money. And we're going to talk about the Queen, the 98-year-old. How about the 25-year-old dead from embarrassment? Where's that? Where's that? You're watching or listening, watching, whatever you're doing. This is the Detroiter, everybody. We're covering sports in the Motor City and the Mitten State. I'm your host, Nick Bradley, the same host that's here every week. Thank you for being here. If you're a repeat customer, thank you for listening once again. If you're tuning into YouTube, Spotify, Apple, whatever the case may be. If you're a first timer, maybe you're a Washington fan who caught a little bit of the vibe on Twitter after me embarrassing myself this weekend. Hey, we'll take them any way we can get them. Thank you. If that's you, thank you for being here. Glad you tuned in. Hopefully you like what we're about to do for the next 45 minutes to an hour. If you're a new Michigan State fan, Michigan fan, Lions fan, again, thank you. This probably is a little bit more relevant to you as Washington fans. Not going to be doing a whole ton of Mariners content, Seahawks content, or Washington Husky content moving forward. Certainly won't be talking about the Kraken. Maybe this week you'll tune in. Hopefully, you know what? My dream, hopefully I can be entertaining enough, interesting enough where you say, I don't really give a shit about Detroit sports or Michigan State or Michigan, but I kind of like this guy. He's kind of entertaining. He's kind of funny. So I guess I'll tune in anyways. That's what we're looking for. That's when you know you've struck gold. The Alchemist, you could turn soot into a precious gem. That's when you know the content, the subject matter to you, Detroit sports, that's soot. If I can sprinkle a couple jokes in, got a Band-Aid coming off, make a fool of myself a little bit, and we can turn it into gold. Now we're cooking with gas. Now we've got something. So anybody who's listening, however you're listening, whyever you're listening, appreciate you being here. Tough weekend for the kid. Tough weekend in the city of Seattle, Washington. Tough weekend for any and all Michigan State fans who made that trip. Even if you didn't make the trip, if you gave them 3 hours of your Saturday night and threw that thing on the television, if you based your social plan Saturday nights around that game, you got fired up. Your mom made the buffalo chicken dip. You had a couple of buddies over. Everyone's got the jerseys on. You're like 4 Busch lattes deep before kickoff. Fired up. Guys are bouncing off the wall. Everybody's excited. We're high-fiving. You're seeing if your buddy can finish 4 of your mom's famous sliders in 15 minutes. It's never done before. The record's 3, and that's your pregame ritual. You can't even imagine how high the vibes are just to watch us get our fucking asses kicked by a repeat guy in Michael Penix, not some new dude, not some random guy that came out of the clouds that nobody's ever heard of. No, a guy that we've actually seen firsthand multiple times that has done the exact thing he just did with Washington to us before at Indiana. Maybe not quite to the degree, but the same exact style of gameplay, the same exact offensive plan. 3-yard pass, 5-yard pass, 4-yard pass, 2-yard pass, 3-yard pass, 7-yard pass, 6-yard pass, 50-yard pass. Every single fucking time. This is the exact same shit that happened to the Michigan State's defense last year. This is the exact same shit. Not only the exact same shit that happened to us in the games we lost. Purdue, same exact thing. Ohio State, same exact thing. This is the exact same stuff that would happen to us when we played Michael Penix and the Indiana Hoosiers. The exact same style of play. They just happen to be wearing purple this time, and there are boats out beyond the field. That's the only difference. And we looked like we didn't know it was allowed to throw the ball for 4 yards and have the runner take off for 10 more. We looked like we didn't know 7-yard curls were allowed in football. We looked like we'd never once heard of the concept of a 5-yard out. We never once looked like we knew it was possible for our cornerbacks to be within 10 yards of a Washington receiver running an underneath route. We looked like it was illegal to play defense in somebody's face. Like the way to win that game forget offense, forget scoring. The way to win that game for Michigan State, it almost felt like our game plan was, listen, anytime they throw the ball, let's let them get it. Let's give it to them, right? They want 4 yards, give it to them. They want a 7 yard out, give it to them. If it's going to be a 10 yard dig and he's sitting literally directly in the middle of the field, like couldn't be more spot on in the middle of the field, right at the first down marker, a spot on the field where like someone should for sure be covering him. Someone should for sure have eyes on the massive fucking tight end sitting at the first down marker on third down, right in the middle of your vision. Someone should for sure be on him, but let's give that to them too. I don't know if we felt a little guilt for Mike Penix coming off the injury. End of his career at Indiana probably didn't go exactly the way he had hoped it would, right? Never totally won big while he was there. They had a couple good seasons. His last season, they were really good. Never totally got over the hump, right? Never won a Rose Bowl, Big Ten, nothing like that. I don't know if we felt a little pity for the kid, like, damn, he got injured, didn't get to do this. Let's give him a special occasion. And we were like, don't cover. Guys, don't cover anybody today. Don't know if that was it. Don't know if we knew it was the first big game for Kellen DeBoer, Washington's new coach. And Mel Tucker said, hey, I had a couple signature wins my first year. We beat Michigan at the Big House. We beat a top 10 Northwestern team. I had a couple big wins, and man, it was special. Let's get DeBoer a big win. Let's make this special. National television, prime time, ABC, Michigan State ranked 11, coming to your house in Seattle. We traveled deep, all the more while a big game for Washington. Let's give DeBoer, something to stand on as he starts his career off at Washington. Don't know if that was the mantra. Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. I don't know if there was some illusion that our defense worked last year, that the scheme we ran with for 13 games last year, I don't know if we were convinced that that was good. It went the way it was supposed to when we were ranked dead last in America in pass defense. I don't know if Mel Tucker saw that and goes, okay, we won 11 games, though, so it can't be that bad. Not sure if that was the logic. Not sure if Scotty Hazelton doubled down. He goes, well, we were fucking horrible last year and we won 11 games. So what if we get worse? Do we win 12 games? Do we win a 13th game if the defense gets worse? Not sure if that was the mindset going in, because it really is inexplicable. And I can't help but think of my most hated coach I've ever had near one of my teams. And there have been some fucking jokes of human beings that have been associated with the teams in Detroit and in the state of Michigan. But I can't help but think today about that fat bastard, Matt Patricia. I can't help but think about him because his calling card was insanity. His calling card was being the smartest guy in the room, a defensive guru, a rocket scientist of stopping offenses, and doing the exact same thing every week for what, 3 years was he here? 4 years? Doing the exact same thing every week on the defensive side. The exact same thing. And it never working. Yet for some reason, game 28, let's try it one more time. Game 33, let's give it another go. Game 41, hey, it hasn't worked the first 40. Maybe this one's the charm. That is what I think of when I think of Matt Patricia, whatever that, who cares? And I can't help but associate that feeling, my thought about him, with what just happened with Michigan State and Washington this weekend. Insanity. To do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different outcome. That's what I'm thinking about today. Sure, maybe there's a talent deficiency, and there probably is to some level. Yeah, maybe our corners just aren't good enough players. Maybe our safeties aren't athletic enough as players. Fine. That needs to be resolved, but that will take time. You can't do that and change that. You have the roster that you have this year. You're going to have to wait for some of these younger dudes on the team to mature. You're going to have to wait for Mel to reel in more transfer classes, more recruiting classes. Acquiring new talent, improved talent takes time. We knew when Tuck got here that the cupboards were fucking bare. We knew that. We knew that for a fact that the cupboards were bare when Mel Tucker got here. It is going to take time to replenish that talent. Now, it is a little interesting because the cupboards were bare, but D'Antonio never had defenses like this, right? Whoever was on there Whoever was on the roster before Tuck got here, they were never a part of the worst defense in America with Mark D'Antonio. However bad, however much you want to critique D'Antonio's ability to recruit or lack thereof while he was at MSU, and how much you want to point to that being the reason for his downfall, amongst other things, I don't care what stars the guys had that he was recruiting. I don't care where in the 30s or 40s his classes were ranked. He never put out a defense like that. Never put out a defense like that. So how is it that with that same baseline of player, those same cupboards that Mel took over, that, yeah, they were bare by all accounts. How is it that with those guys and then additional infused talent in the form of transfers, Chester Kimbrough from Florida, Amir Speed from Georgia, how is it, and then your own recruits that are ranked higher than anybody Mark D'Antonio was putting on the field, how is it that these defenses all of a sudden are worse than Mark D'Antonio could have ever imagined? How does that make sense? Because I'll tell you right now, it doesn't. It's a fucking trick question. How's that for you? It's a trick goddamn question. It doesn't make sense. All we ever heard through the Mark D'Antonio era was he can't recruit. He's never going to be able to sustainably beat Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan if you can't recruit. Understandable. He still never put out a defense anywhere near the worst in the country. I don't think he ever put out a defense ranked in the triple digits at all. I don't even know if he ever put a defense out that was like worse than 60th. Last year, we had one of the worst, and we are coming right back, at least through the year, and we are coming right back and looking to challenge ourselves for that crown as the biggest fucking joke on the defensive side of the ball in college football. And the only difference is if we've improved the talent. The talent level isn't the same guys that Georgia has. The talent level isn't the same guys that Ohio State has, or even Michigan has, or even Penn State has. The talent level isn't there yet because Mel Tucker hasn't brought in all of his recruits. He's had one class come in, two classes, one of which wasn't even his players. He maybe recruited one dude, two guys to that first class. Or maybe that's, yeah, is that the first? Yeah, that's the class I'm thinking of with like Jordan Simmons and them. The one that he just like took, they were already committed and he just took over for. I don't understand, even though that may be the case. Mark D'Antonio was doing it. Mark D'Antonio had the dead opposite problem. Defenses were always good. Couldn't score a point to save our fucking lives. And now the offense looks pretty decent. The offense was great last season. The offense has been pretty good so far. A lot of garbage time points, but I guess, they still put up 28. And now the defense can't stop fucking anybody, can't stop a leak, can't stop a drip. And we've only improved the talent. The defensive line, all across the board, every single recruit, better recruit this year than Mark D'Antonio was working with. I promise you. Linebackers, same fucking thing. Secondary guys, same thing. He's pulling guys from Florida and Georgia, and they can't cover a fucking soul. It doesn't make any sense. And Mel had the press conference today, and he's going, we looked at the tape. A lot of it wasn't schematic. A lot of it was our guys being undisciplined, eyes going to the wrong places, missing assignments, this, that, the other thing. Essentially saying a lot of what they did wasn't, or a lot of what they gave up, I should say, wasn't due to the fact that the scheme was off, that they were calling zone when they should have called man, even though that's for sure why they got roasted. Called way too much zone. When they blitzed, it worked, and they just didn't blitz enough. Doesn't make sense. Fucking Matt Patricia type shit. But he was saying they got beat when their players got undisciplined and missed assignments. So you're telling me every fucking time Washington wanted to throw the ball, because every time Washington threw the ball, we did miss it. They did complete the pass. They did get big yardage. There was a guy in the flat wide open. There was a guy 12 yards in the middle wide open. There was a guy 30 yards deep wide open. Every fucking time. Every single time. And if it was a big play, second and long, third down, big play, you need to get a stop. You bet your ass somebody in purple was wide open. Nearest safety's 12 yards away. You can bet your ass. that was the case. If Washington needed a play, we were nowhere to be found. Not even fucking close. Couldn't even breathe on the guy if we wanted to. But Mel is saying that it's because our guys were missing assignments. The scheme was right. Our guys were wrong, which I'm sure was the case for a good majority of it. I'm sure there were quite a few times Amir Speed missed the assignment. I fucking know there were quite a few times where Angelo Gross had his head 5 feet up his ass and had no idea who he was covering, where he was supposed to be. Next thing he knows, he's 12 yards behind the guy who's got the ball running to the end zone. I know that happened a few times, but to say that that happened every time, because that's what you're insinuating. It wasn't a problem with the scheme. It was a problem with the guys being disciplined and following the scheme. So every single play Washington ran through the air, we had one or more guys in our secondary just completely doing the wrong thing. Every time. Every single time. Because I don't remember us stopping them once. They never punted. The only times we stopped them, it was twice goal line stands where they couldn't air it out, where they couldn't do the one thing they'd been doing all day to get to the fucking goal line. The only time we had any defensive success is when they were within 5 yards of the end zone and they had to line up under center and try and run the ball twice. That was the only time our defense looked competent. Other than that, it was a fucking 7-on-7 with the varsity team scrimmaging the freshman squad. That's what it looked like all day. Between the 20s, it was Michael Penix sitting in a long chair, just ding, 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 picking out who we wanted to get the ball. It was fucking ridiculous. And you're saying every single time wasn't the scheme. It was somebody in the secondary or multiple guys back there blowing assignments. There, that's an issue for two reasons. One, I just simply don't think that's the truth. I simply don't think that every single time they went to throw, we were just making errors. It wasn't the assignment. It was the fact that, hey, he should have been in the right place, but he's bad at his job, so he wasn't. Every single time, all of the times, it was because somebody missed an assignment, somebody wasn't doing what they were supposed to. It wasn't ever because, hey, Scotty Hazelton, why are you calling a play that instructs our safety to give the guy running an 8-yard curl 20 yards of cushion? Why is Amir Speed on 1st and 10 standing 15 yards off of his man? Amir Speed, he's supposed to be 5 yards off his man, and he's just ignoring that and standing 15 off. I have a hard time believing that's what happened every single fucking time Washington took to the air. I gotta believe a little bit of it was the scheme because there's no way you're at the college level playing for a Michigan State and you can't follow an assignment ever. That just doesn't happen. That's not possible. You can't be that dumb of a player and get on a Division I field. There's just no chance. When Scotty Hazelton's scheme is, oh, we're actually supposed to press these guys. We're supposed to get up on them and take away the 5-yard out. But for some reason, everybody on the field ignored me and is playing 20 yards off. What? That makes no fucking sense. And on the flip side, if that is the case, then that might be an even further indictment on Scotty Hazelton and Mel Tucker. Because if that is, if the scheme is right and the strategy and the game plan are there, it should stop what Washington wants to do. And every single defensive back on the field is blatantly either disobeying you or is too dumb to know where they're supposed to be. And you still are letting them play every snap. You still are letting them take reps in pass coverage against a quarterback who's roasting you. That might be more of an indictment on you that you can't recognize after one quarter. Hey, we told Chester Kimbrough to line up in this guy's face, and yet he still lines up 12 yards away every single down. You're not going to change that? You're not going to say, hey, Chester, what the fuck? You're not going to go, Chuck Brantley, go take a spot? Angelo Gross, he's supposed to get the guy going deep. If somebody goes deep on the left side of the field, it's a cover two, Angelo. You take him, buddy. Right? If that's the scheme, is this guy's going to go deep. Someone's going to go deep. Keep your eye out, pick him up, stay with him. That's the scheme. And Angelo Gross is just letting these guys blow 15 yards by him. You're telling me the scheme was right. He should have been in the position to make a play. He should have been there so Jalen Polk couldn't just run free for his third touchdown of the day right out of the half after you answered and gained an inkling of momentum back. Angelo Gross is supposed to be there to make that play. That's what you're telling me, Mel. Okay. And for the 7th time tonight, he isn't. So again, He either heard the cover two call come in and said, you know what? I'm not going to get the guy that comes deep to my side. I just don't really feel like it. One. Or two, he didn't understand. You called the cover two, and he's like, I get the flats. I don't. Well, who do I get? I get the running back out of the backfield. I don't know, coach. What do I get? He either didn't know what the fuck he was doing, unacceptable, inexcusable, or he knew what he was supposed to do and blatantly ignored it. Unacceptable, inexcusable. And either way, whether it's the scheme's fault or whether it's Angelo Gross being insubordinate or whether it's Angelo Gross being bad, any of those, it still looks bad on you, Mel, that you saw players in the game diverting from the scheme that you said should be working, that you said after the game ended in a press conference this morning should have worked, was the right scheme, wasn't the reason you got shredded for 39. After the game, you said that. Yet you watched Angelo Gross, Amir Speed, Chester Kimbrough get fucking burned for 4 quarters for whatever reason, and you didn't make a change the entire time? That might be worse. That might be worse. I don't understand that. I really don't get it. You're telling me it was never the scheme. And yet, all these guys that ignored the scheme or botched the scheme, sabotaged what you wanted to do, were still let in and allowed to play for 4 quarters. That's a fucking joke. That's a fucking joke. You think Nick Saban runs a football team like that? Hey, dude. Hey, Sertan, you just didn't do what you were supposed to do for the first 3 quarters. You're not sniffing the field in the fourth quarter. That shit doesn't fly after one at Alabama. You think Kirby Smart's like, all right, my safety has gotten beat twice deep when his only responsibility is not to get beat deep. And not only is he getting, it's not like the guy's making nice catches or it's a dime and he's there. He's down, he's behind the receiver by 15 fucking yards. Like he's not even paying attention. He's not even thinking. You think that guy suits up in the second half? Dude, hit the showers and catch the bus back to wherever the fuck you came from. You're not playing at Georgia. So why the hell are we letting these dudes do that at Michigan State? We want to be great, don't we? The whole thing, everything about Mel Tucker, we're going to build this into an elite program, right? We want to be at the top. We want to compete for championships. What the fuck? We've got 3 guys in the secondary routinely getting roasted. If it's not the scheme's fault, then these 3 guys routinely are botching the scheme. Why are they still in the game? And a couple of these guys are the same fucking guys who got burned anytime we played someone with a pulse last year. Michigan, Ohio State, Purdue. And they're still allowed in there to be a sacrificial lamb for Michael Penix and the Huskies. That's a fucking joke. I refuse to believe that the scheme was right. I refuse to believe it. Just not possible. Just not possible. Right? As bad as these guys that I just listed in the secondary looked, I refuse to believe that all 3 of them are getting torched or at least missing coverage, blowing their assignment every single fucking time Penix drop backs to pass. I refuse to believe that that's the case. I think the scheme has something to do with it. But for Mel to come out this morning and say it wasn't the scheme, so you're just letting shitty football players take the field. You're letting guys who you know don't do the right thing take the field. What are we doing here? What the fuck do you mean? Hey, I know this guy can't play a cover two. Let's throw him out there and then run a cover two. The fuck? I'm sorry. I liked Angelo Gross. I think he's good in the run. Should not be on the field the rest of the season unless it's third and short. Plain and simple. I like Chester Kimbrough. Probably a nice guy. Came to Florida, gave Mel Tucker a chance. That's great. His interception against Nebraska last year was awesome. Don't give a fuck. He should be like the 4th corner in the game. Amir Speed's cool. Came from Georgia. That's sweet. He's a big boy. Plays corner. That's nice. He better figure it the fuck out. If today or Saturday happens again, he's the 5th corner. Like, you got to do something. I know a lot of the guys that you could turn to, the next man up, are freshmen or dudes, that are new to Michigan State, maybe don't entirely have the playbook down or whatever, maybe a little undersized, need to gain a little weight, whatever the case is. I mean, that's what sucks. Anybody Mel has recruited out of high school to play in the secondary is a freshman right now. But at some point, it's not fucking working with the upperclassmen. The transfers from the SEC ain't cutting it. I don't give a fuck if it's a freshman or a 13-year-old, bro. He might be better than what we got because he can't be worse. Drives me insane. The fact that the fact that it is reminiscent of Matt Patricia and the Lions, that's what kills me the most. The fact that it is borderline insanity. We're doing the same exact shit again as we did last year and expecting different results. Of course, Michael Penix roasted you for 39. Of course he did. And it's even more annoying. I don't know if it's more frustrating that we're doing the exact same shit that we did last year and nothing has changed and it's the same result, or throughout 4 quarters of that game, we were doing the same exact shit all game and got roasted. I don't know which is worse. I don't know which is worse, that our coaching staff, our defensive staff seemingly can't adjust in a game, or that they can't adjust from a season to another goddamn season. I don't know if chopping Scotty Hazelton's the answer. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. What I do know is shit needs to change. You got to go, if you do keep Scotty Hazelton around, hey, Scotty, no more of this pussyfoot 20 yards of cushion, have 7 yards of play bullshit. That ends now. That is never happening again. I don't care who their wide receivers are. I don't care how afraid you are of getting beat deep. There will never, ever, ever be a game at Michigan State where we look at the other quarterback and go, you can throw it for 5 yards every single play if you want to. And then once you get into the red zone, then we'll try and stop you. That is never going to fucking fly here again. That needs to be a conversation. Either that or get rid of the fucking dude because he obviously can't make adjustments. Plain and simple. And at the end of the day, whether it's Scotty Hazelton's fault for not knowing how to game plan and adjust, or it's Mel Tucker's fault, or it's somebody, whoever's fault, I don't give a fuck. Mel Tucker is the head coach. Mel Tucker is the defensive guy. Mel Tucker is responsible for whoever organizes the defense to be the best at it. You think Nick Saban sits around and goes, well, we had the worst defense in America last year. He wouldn't even give you a second chance, but let's give him a second chance. And then Saturday at Washington happens. You think Nick Saban's like, hey, it's all right, buddy. We just got to figure. Nick Saban's like, I'm going to fucking kill you if you don't leave. Mel Tucker, you want to be elite? You want to win championships? You want to take Michigan State to that top tier level? That shit won't fly. Worst defense in the country, no adjustment. No adjustment within a 4-quarter game when they're doing the same goddamn thing over and over. That's not going to fly. You got to make changes. You got to get in Scotty Hazelton's face and say, this is the mentality we're taking on defense now, or you're out. Because ultimately, we can fire the DC. He can be the scapegoat. We can fire the corners coach, the safeties coach. They can be the scapegoat. I don't care. Ultimately, it falls on Mel Tucker because he's the head coach and he's the guy running the show. He's the one responsible for us winning these games, plain and simple. Disappointing. Disappointing, dude. And the offense was disappointing as well. I mean, they still put up 28. How much of that was in garbage time? Honestly. Offense didn't have a pulse until the 4th quarter. All day. Couldn't pick up a yard on the ground. You could say every single person on the offensive line will be executed if you don't get a yard here, and we would not have picked up that yard. Everybody would be dead. We couldn't get a yard to save our lives for a team that was so dependent on the run game in weeks 1 and 2. A team whose ethos is, we are going to out physical you. We are going to dominate the line of scrimmage. We got fucking bullied. The entire game, the offensive line got bullied. That was embarrassing. The only thing that was maybe more embarrassing than the defense is how badly our offensive line got tossed around. They didn't even look up to the match. They looked like they fucking pissed themselves. Couldn't get a yard. Never gave Broussard or Berger daylight one time. Peyton Thorne sat back there. He made a couple plays. People sucking him off a little bit, going, hey, whatever you want to say, fine. But don't come at Peyton Thorne. He stepped up and rose to the occasion. Like Peyton Thorne had some unbelievable game. Like Peyton Thorne put the team on his back and was balling out. We lost by 11. He didn't do shit until the 4th quarter. And I'm not coming on here saying Peyton Thorne's bad. That was the best game Peyton Thorne's played this year by far. I mean, he was terrible the first 2, so thank God he played that way. If he didn't play that way, we would have lost by 50. But can we not come out here and pretend that Peyton Thorne was some spectacle on Saturday? He was pretty good. He was, he had some nice throws. The Mosley throw was awesome. The Keon Coleman first touchdown, awesome. He had some nice throws. He made some nice plays. He also missed some fucking massive plays. Interception at the end was terrible. Horrible interception. Still does that thing where he's super athletic, but take sacks where he looks like he has cinder blocks strapped to his feet. I don't understand it. Like he'll break out and run sometimes and he gets moving. And you're like, damn it, we should do this more. And then he takes sacks sometimes and you're like, are you 700 pounds all of a sudden? It's the weirdest thing and it drives me nuts because a guy that athletic should not take some of the sacks he does. He'll make some throws where you're like, that was a horrible idea, i.e., the interception. And he still misses throws where you're like, that guy was fucking wide, Peyton. And there's nobody around you in the pocket. Make the throw, i.e., Montori Foster going across the field, hits him in the numbers. He's either scoring or getting inside the 10 and giving MSU a little bit of life early in that second half. Massive missed throw by Peyton Thorne. He made some great ones. I think overall he played pretty well. Like I'd give him, I don't know, a B. But pick was devastating, horrible. They could have made a comeback if he doesn't throw that pick. Missed throw to Montori Foster was huge and took some bad sacks once again. My issue, and I don't know if it's an issue, but I just don't want to do the whole Peyton Thorne was incredible thing. Because here, plain and simple, here's what it is. His stats looked great. Fucking garbage time, though. Washington parked the bus. They were up like 4 touchdowns. Yeah, dude, you guys can throw it a little bit, burn some time. It's fine. Guess what's going to happen when we get the ball back anyway? They didn't give a fuck. They were letting him throw it. Yeah, he made some nice throws. In the fourth quarter, down 25. Okay. Where were those throws in the first quarter where we needed a little bit of momentum? And that's my issue. Everybody going around on Twitter like, credit to this guy for bouncing back. Yeah, he did bounce back relative to what he's done. But what he's done the first two has been pathetic. It's not impressive. Hey, you played like about how you're supposed to. Should we throw a fucking parade and you still lost by 11? We needed Peyton Thorne to make shit happen in the first quarter, in the second quarter, in the third quarter. When Washington was building momentum, when we couldn't run the football, we need Peyton Thorne to make a play with his legs, extend the play, make a throw downfield, get out of the pocket, take off with his legs, evade a sack, throw one downfield. We need him to make shit happen. When there isn't shit to be had, we need Peyton Thorne to be a little bit of a magician and create something out of nothing. That's what all the greatest college quarterbacks do. And he didn't. He didn't. He made some of he made the throws he was supposed to. He made a couple really nice throws from the pocket. Yes. I don't have a memory of him like dancing around, making one insane play. Maybe the last Keon Coleman touchdown. Maybe that when the game was kind of over. Like maybe that. Every time in that first half, when it was like, God damn, dude, we just need a couple first downs. We need points. Washington's churning. We need our offense to get our back. Our defense clearly isn't up to the task. Every time we had a drive with that feeling around it, we didn't get it done. And ultimately, Peyton Thorne, you got it. Like, if you want to be great, when you need momentum possessions, not even scoring, like, not even for the sake of the points, just so we can feel a little bit good about ourselves, we're looking at you. You got to be the guy that makes a couple plays. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, JJ McCarthy at Michigan. Those guys just make shit happen sometimes. Where, yeah, their left tackle misses a block or nobody's really open. But you know what? They run around. They do something that most guys don't. Somebody gets open, and there you go. First down. Chains are moving. Defense is resting. Fans are a little more upbeat. He just didn't do that, I didn't think. And then I logged into Twitter after the game, and everyone's like, man, Peyton Thorne played great. He had a nice stat line. He played great in the fourth quarter. There's 3 others, and the game was over by the time he got it going. I don't know. I can't like come on here and celebrate running it up in the fourth when Washington's up 4 touchdowns and has parked the bus. I need to see something while we're still battling, while there's a little bit of game left, like while there is momentum to be taken back. That's when I need you to make plays. I don't need you to make plays when there's 4 minutes left and we're down 22. Cool. Game looks like we didn't get killed by as much. I was there. We got fucking bodied. I don't care what your stat line looks like. I don't know. And again, he wasn't bad. I'm not saying he was or is anywhere near the reason we lost. He's the furthest thing from it, probably. Him and Keon Coleman. It's like those are the only 2 guys I could say had a good game, honestly. Keon Coleman, Peyton Thorne. Nobody else was I like, they played pretty well. Nobody else on the team. Maybe Bryce Behringer, I guess. He's the only other guy that had a fucking shot. I'm not saying Peyton was bad or, he's the reason we lost, but it's like, we shouldn't be fucking rolling out the red carpet for garbage time points when you didn't really do anything for the first three quarters. I know the run game was bad. I know the offensive line got bodied. You got to make plays. If you're special, if you're one of those guys, if you're a Michael Penix, you make shit happen. Plain and simple. And he didn't. The last thing I want to say about this game, and then we'll talk about the Lions. Michigan fans, I hate to break it to you. Hopefully you haven't been sitting through this like, all right, hopefully he talks about the UConn game. I don't give a fuck. What are we going to say about the UConn game? They killed them. They beat them by 59. Congrats. You played another team that nobody cares about. I don't know if anybody watched it. I don't even know if Michigan fans watched that game. They beat UConn. I don't care. Cool. Whatever. Good job. They did what they're supposed to. I mean, it's nice that they're 3-0. I'm sure, obviously, they're pumping their chests. MSU loses. Michigan fans are running rampant in the streets. They just smoked their third team in a row. That's great. They get to play Maryland this week at home again, somehow. 4 home games to start. It's fucking wild scheduling. It'll be more impressive if they smoke Maryland. Like, I think everybody expects them to beat Maryland. They should beat Maryland. If they kill them by 50, then it'll be like, oh shit, all right, Michigan might actually be the real fucking deal. So we'll see. And again, Maryland's not a heavyweight, but they are in the Big Ten. They do have Taulia Tagovailoa, who's a little frisky. Like, they have a fucking pulse, unlike the first 3 teams they've played. So we'll see. But other than that, I'm not talking Michigan, UConn. We'll talk the Lions after the break. The last things I want to say. One, despite Saturday being the embarrassment that it was, um, unbelievable experience. I got to go to Seattle. Super lucky that I did. Super happy that I did. Unreal. The city was unbelievable. I don't understand why people bag on it. Honestly, I really don't get it. I don't know if it's just politics or what, but everything you read on the internet on why people roast Seattle and say it was a great city, now it sucks. Everything you read, I didn't see one thing similar to that. Everything I saw was like, this is fucking cool. Every little neighborhood I went to, I was like, this is fucking cool. I didn't see anything where I was like, oh, nothing. I mean, there's a couple of bums around. Listen, there's bums everywhere, but I didn't see any overwhelming amount. I didn't see any violence while I was there. Like, it was fucking clean. Like, nothing really what got me to be like, oh, I get why people roast it. I unreal city. Everything about it, being on the water, the mountains in the background, the whole like landscape there, how it's like an archipelago, the whole Seattle region. It's kind of fucking wild. Looking at a map's crazy. Mount Rainier just emerging out of the clouds, the Space Needle, even though it serves no purpose. Awesome looking. All the little neighborhoods around Capitol Hill, Fremont, Queen Anne. Didn't get to go to Ballard. Awesome. The seaplanes, Gasworks Park was cool. Really, everything I did, the people I met, the University of Washington was cool, gave me East Lansing vibes. The University of Washington fans I met and chopped it up with at the tailgate were cool. Like, couldn't have been a better experience. I highly recommend Seattle. I'm super glad I went. I fucking love it. The downside of me going there is I left, I got back home, and I'm sitting here like, damn, it'd be cool to live in Seattle, wouldn't it? Like, honestly, that's the biggest negative I experienced of going is now I want to live there. So that fucking sucks. But it was an unbelievable experience. And beyond that, seeing the number of MSU people that traveled there, that's the stuff that warms my heart. From Thursday to Sunday, dude, everywhere you went, everywhere you looked, MSU people. It was incredible. The tailgate at the Paddleford Garage was fucking buzzing, dude. I couldn't see over the crowd. It was just Michigan State people. We're 2,000 miles away from East Lansing, and there's MSU people everywhere. Got to meet a couple people who listened to the pod and watched the video, so that was awesome. Everything, like, it felt like I was back in East Lansing, but we were in Seattle. It was a crazy experience. It was a one of a kind experience. Super glad I did it. That's the type of shit that makes being a Spartan so cool. Is that we can play 2,000 miles away in the tippy corner of the country, and we'll get thousands of us to show up. That's why being a dog is the coolest fucking thing in the world. So I'm super grateful. That was awesome. The game sucked. City was great. Experience was great. State fans were great. Washington fans were great. Unreal experience. We're going to bounce back. That's the thing. We'll talk more about it Thursday. We're going to be okay. Believe me, we will. Quick break. We'll talk Lions beating Commanders. How about them Lions, huh? The same old Lions people, the people that last week were telling me Dan Campbell can't get it done here. Yeah, he says man a lot and cries, but he's not a good coach. Where the fuck did they go? Those same people that were telling me Jared Goff's horrible. He can't win big. He can't win at all. Where the hell did they go? Those same guys that were telling me our defense is fucked. We're the same thing as last year. Aiden Hutchinson, he's a bust. Where did they go? Where did they go? Where did the SOL crowd go that was in my mentions week one? Where the hell did they all go? I'm genuinely curious because I had everybody telling me, oh, you're a sucker for buying in. Been a fan here 40 years. This is what they do. They always lose these type of games. We lose by 3. Battle back so many times all game against a lock playoff team. Meanwhile, Philly's taking it to Minnesota early in this Monday night game. We lose by them to 3, and everybody's telling me how this season's a failure. Dan Campbell's a failure. Where the fuck are they now? They're so quiet. I haven't seen one person telling me this team's done. I haven't seen one person telling me how Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes don't know what they're doing. I haven't seen one person tell me how Jared Goff's a bottom 3 QB in the NFL. Where the hell did they all go? I'm genuine. I'm asking. I'm asking. I would like to know where all the Lions haters went. All the people who claim to be Lions fans but are seemingly happy when the Lions lose so they can come and say, that's the Lions. I told you so. Where the hell did they go? Didn't see a peep all day on Twitter yesterday, all day today. Where the fuck are they? They were loud last week. We lost to a guaranteed playoff team. We lost to a squad who might fuck around and win the NFC by 3. And everybody was telling me how the Lions stink, how number 1 pick, here we go again, how Dan Campbell needs to stop crying and start coaching. Where'd those people go? We didn't have Frank Ragnow, maybe our best player, one of them certainly. Big V out. We didn't. Who else were we missing? Amani Oruwariye didn't play. I think we were missing like one or Iffy, I don't think played, maybe another guy or two. Like we were down some starters. Took care of business. Ran the ball all day. Jared Goff, I thought was awesome all day. Made a bunch of throws where I was like, damn, Jared. I didn't know you had it like that. That throw to Amon Ra, I think the last touchdown to Amon Ra, the deep out in the corner of the end zone, front pylon, unreal throw. The first touchdown to Amon Ra, where he steps through the pocket and throws on the run and gets crunched as he lets it go, and it's like right over the defender's hands to Amon Ra. That was a fucking dime. He made a couple throws to Hutchinson in the fourth quarter that were seeds right through the middle of the defense. I thought Jared Goff was awesome all day. Honestly, the throw to Josh Reynolds, beauty. I thought he was awesome all fucking day. I think that's the best I've seen Jared Goff play as a Detroit Lion. Thought the run game was great. You don't have your center, who's one of the best players on your team, and you still take it to a team like Washington and run it down their throats all day. You're still able to let Jared sit back there and zip that thing around to guys like Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Hawkinson, and Chark. Come on. That's impressive. That's good shit. Mind you, defense, Philly's got a good one. Philly's got a great front seven. We ran the ball on those guys all last week, too. The difference was our defense wasn't quite up for the test last week like they were this week. And the passing game didn't quite get going this week or last week like it did this week. This team might be kind of decent, guys. I hate to say it, and I know there are plenty of you out there that hate to hear it, but this team might be kind of decent. I mean, we've run the ball back-to-back weeks now on solid run defenses, and now we've thrown the ball. The second half last week, Jared Goff started to find a rhythm, and we started to cook a little bit. All fucking day yesterday against Washington, he was hitting in the pass game. What'd we end up scoring? 35, 36, something like that. Same shit as last week. If you put up those kind of numbers, you should win a lot of games. And I know the one hesitation with the Lions right now is that defense did kind of bend a little bit in that second half. I think we only gave up a touchdown in the first half. And then in the second half, Washington kind of mounted a little bit of a comeback. They started to throw the ball and they made things interesting. Yeah, the defense gave up nothing in the first half, gave up all 27 in the second half. That's not great. No doubt about it. That's not great. 27 and a half. That's unacceptable. But I will say this, a couple things. I don't know how much of that, if you're up 22 nothing coming out of the half, I don't know how much of that Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn are like, all right, let's be conservative, keep everything in front of us, let them run the ball, burn the clock. I don't know how much of it is that, or I don't know how much of it is we just kind of fell apart and guys started missing coverages. We started getting run on a little bit. I don't know which it was. I mean, we stopped the run game pretty much all day. Antonio Gibson, 14 carries, 28 yards, fucking nothing. Carson Wentz torched us a little bit, though. 337, three tutties, and a pick. I don't know what it was. And they do have nice wideouts. I will give them that. Curtis Samuel, McLaurin, and Jahan Dotson. Like, that's a respectable trio. Those three guys can get open. Those three guys are fucking solid NFL players. But I will say, giving up 27 in a half, no matter who you're playing, can't have it. Can't have it. And there is nothing in football that drives me more nuts than the idea of like parking the bus. When you're up big in the third quarter, just going here, keep it in front of them. Doing exactly what MSU did against Washington for 4 on Saturday, just saying, you guys want 7-yard plays? Take them. Throw the ball for 8 yards every single play if you want to. I fucking hate that. If it was up to me, I don't care if we're up 1 point. I don't care if we're up 100 points. We would play defense the same way every single possession for an entire game. If it was up to me, we would be aggressive. We would come after the quarterback. We would try to stop the run. We wouldn't just give up underneath routes because it burns clock. We would play defense and try to stop you from picking up first downs every single time you got the ball, no matter what the situation or what the score. If you're down or if we're up 2 possessions with like 30 seconds left, okay, fine, play some prevent. Other than that, third quarter, play defense. Anything more than like a minute left in the fourth quarter, play normal fucking defense. Do not park the bus. Because I'll tell you this, if you start to do that shit on defense where you're like, all right, let's pump the brakes and just kind of cruise here, that transfers to your offense. And that's exactly what happened to ours. We scored again early in the third quarter. And then from the third until like midway to the fourth, that DeAndre Swift touchdown or the Amon-Ra touchdown, we didn't really do anything. The offense stalled out. Washington scoring some points. We're just punting. They're scoring points. We're punting. Like that energy, that mentality of like, all right, guys, we scored 29. We're good. We're good to go. Let's hang out. That mentality, even if that's just how you're playing defense, like let's protect the lead, that shit transfers to your offense. And it should be the same thing. I don't care if we're up 1 point. I don't care if we're up 100 points. You should try to score every single time you have the ball. Again, unless there's a minute left, they don't have any timeouts, and you just need to run it 3 times to win the game. You should be trying to score every single time you have the ball. That shit drives me crazy. There's 5 minutes left in the third quarter. You're up 2 touchdowns, but for some reason, we're calling offense like we're up 40. I don't get that, dude. Throw the fucking ball. Go downfield. Take a deep shot. Get Amon-Ra involved some more. Like, try to pick up first downs. Try to score points. Since when is a 14-point lead in the third quarter untouchable? Especially when your name is the Detroit fucking Lions. So that was a little annoying. And again, it's similar to like the Mel Tucker, Scotty Hazelton conundrum. I don't know where that comes from. Like, I don't know if it's Dan Campbell telling Aaron Donald, all right, Aaron, like, let's call this conservative. I don't know if it's what Aaron thinks it's best. Like, I don't know whose brainchild it is to be like, yeah, dude, let's fucking relax. Let's like pump the brakes on scoring points. Let's stop sending blitzes. Let's give them every underneath throw in the book. I don't know who comes up with the idea. I can't fucking stand it though. I hate everything about it. I wish they wouldn't. I wish we never, ever, ever did it again in my lifetime because it almost torched us. And it's torched us, oh my, so many times before. When people say same old Lions, people say, they were saying last week when we lost to Philly, that's a game people lose. What almost happened against Washington, that is some same old Lions bullshit. That is the type of game we lose. You're up 14, couple possessions. Ford Field's pretty loud. The offense has been good. So you know what? Let's just like stop trying. Let's stop being aggressive in all facets of the game. That's how you earn the reputation of the same old Lions. That's how you blow that lead in the fourth quarter. That's how you send everybody home from Ford Field in the worst mood of their lives. Is playing conservatively, playing not to lose versus playing to win. And it drives me even more nuts when our head coach is a guy like Dan Campbell, who went for that fourth down early in the game, who went for like every fourth down, it felt like last year, who kind of walks around and leads with the mentality of let's go out and win it. We're not playing not to lose. We're playing to win. Let's be the aggressor. So what the fuck? What the fuck? Why are we parking the bus in the third quarter, Dan? That's not going to do it. Better teams come back and make that game a little more interesting. Fortunately for us, their quarterback's Carson Wentz. That was the only downside. Like, very good game regardless. The defense in the first half, you got to give them credit. They were lights out. Coming off that game against Philly, that was tough. They got shredded. People were talking about them. They were lights fucking out in that first half, and it was awesome to watch. Offense was awesome, minus the little lag they had from the third to the fourth quarter. Amon Ra was unreal again. He's a fucking stud. DeAndre Swift was awesome again. He's a stud. Jamal Williams was good. He's a beast. Great leader. The offensive line was awesome despite Frank Ragnow and Big V being out, which was beautiful to see. Nothing quite like depth at the offensive line, and nothing quite like having an offensive line that can run the ball for 5 yards anytime you need it. Makes a guy like Jared Goff's life way easier. And wouldn't you know it, Jared Goff has a nice day. 256 and 4 tutties, no interceptions. That's a thing of beauty. It was great to watch. It was great to watch, like, all the way around. Outside of parking the bus, it was great to watch. And it brings me joy. My heart sings knowing that all those fucking loser Lions fans out there were sitting there Monday like, God damn it, they figured it out. God damn it, they beat Washington. God damn it, I can't log onto the internet and say I was right about the Lions always being a disappointment. I'm going to sleep so well tonight knowing those fucking losers are punching trash bags. God, that warms my heart. Hey, you jackass. Hey, you absolute loser. You bottom feeder. You thought we were done? Dan Campbell didn't know what he was doing because we got roasted by Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. Oh, who, by the way, are roasting the Minnesota Vikings on national TV right now. You thought we were done? It's same old Lions, 50 years of losing because of that one game in week 1 of year 2? You fucking pathetic, miserable, fake fan. How'd that feel watching them bounce back and beat a team that they should beat, like Washington, and not only beat them, dominate, look sharp, throw the ball, run the ball, overcome adversity, missing some key players at key positions, and still picking up like nothing was different? How did that make you soul sucking scumbags feel watching Dan Campbell and the Lions do that last night? Honestly, that might be the best part. Lions winning is awesome. Being 1-1 is awesome. Going into week 3 against Minnesota, feeling good, coming off a win, knowing we can beat teams, that's great. Knowing that all those degenerates that claim to be Lions fans but root for the downfall because they haven't been good their entire life. So, like, let's celebrate and tell you I told you so when they're bad again. All those fucking scrubs had to sit there and watch us dominate the Commanders in week 2 to get back to 500. God, that feels good. This first one came a lot earlier than last year's too, huh? Was it week 9 or week 10 when we got our first one last year? Week 2, we're in the win column. And there are still people who tried telling me last week that this team hasn't made progress. Like, that's why I said that all last week. That's why I said I went on such a tear getting after getting after these Lions fans that were so down in the dumps after one game. We're not going to win the Super Bowl this year, guys. I hate to do it. I hate to say it, but like, it's just the truth. We're not going to win the Super Bowl this year. This team is capable of winning some games, though. This team is capable of being competitive every time they play. When you have a run game like that, you've got some weapons like we have with Swift, St. Brown, Hawkinson, Reynolds. Jamison Williams hasn't even played a fucking snap. DJ Chark. You got some guys like that. You're going to be competitive. Jeff Okuda looks pretty fucking good coming off injury. Aiden Hutchinson with 3 sacks. You're going to be competitive. You're going to be in games. You're going to get a chance to beat teams. So don't come at me with this pathetic, defeated attitude just because the Lions historically have been bad. It's year 2, week 2 of a new regime. Brand new general manager, brand new head coach. Everybody seems to love playing for the head coach. By all accounts, the general manager seems to be great at what he does. And because we lost in week 1 to a Philly team that looks like a juggernaut, people were out. People were done. You wanted to wave the white flag? Makes me sick to my stomach. Honestly, it does. because we go into week 2, we play a worse team with a worse quarterback in Washington, and we take care of fucking business because this team has improved thanks to Brad Holmes, thanks to Dan Campbell, thanks to these guys buying in and working hard. This team has gotten better. This team will beat teams this year. This team will beat average teams. They'll probably beat a couple teams that are pretty good. But people wanted to wave the white flag one game in, and not only wave the white flag on this season. People were talking about, is Dan Campbell really the man for the job? Why should I believe in Dan Campbell? In his 18th game, it, it drives me fucking crazy, dude. It drives me crazy. And there were people doing the same thing with Mel Tucker this weekend. I had people in my mentions like, I don't want to overreact, but I'm starting to wonder if Mel's the guy. Dude, you don't want to overreact? Are you fucking kidding me? It's barely year 3 for Mel Tucker. He won 11 games last year. They were supposed to be horrible. They're still not supposed to be very good this year. They lost one game on the road to a good Washington team. Tough to go to the West Coast. Tough to play at that stadium. It was fucking loud, I can tell you firsthand. And Michael Penix is a dog. You're going to lose. Alabama loses. People are like, are we sure Mel Tucker's the guy? I'm sitting there like, are people real? Honest to God, are people real? That's how I felt last week. Like Dan Campbell, he cries, but he can't coach. I'm like, bro, what? Really? Really? We're already there? Felt fucking great to see the Lions go get it done like this. Get it done convincingly. When Washington started to crawl back, a game that many Lions teams many years before have folded and then lost, the Lions shut the fucking door, answered with a touchdown, played a little defense, got a crucial stop when we needed it, and iced that thing in front of a packed Ford Field again. God, it felt good. That's different. That's improvement. People were talking about Dan Campbell's not the guy because you lost to the Eagles, bro. Drives me crazy how mentally weak people are. It's so obnoxious. I have no problem if you're from Chicago or the West Coast or down south or you're a fan of anybody not named the Lions. I have no problem with you being like the Lions stink. I don't think Dan Campbell's the guy for the job. I have no problem with whatever you think the Lions are. Fair enough. The Lions probably look worse from an outsider's perspective, if that's even possible. I have no problem with that. What I can't live with is the people who are like, been a Lions fan for 40 years. They're never going to be good. And Dan Campbell certainly isn't the answer. You're not a fucking fan. You want to be right. You like calling yourself a Lions fan, so then you can log in after they lose and tell you that you were right about them being the same old Lions. You're a joke. You're a joke. You're questioning the head coach because they lost one game to a playoff team. You just no patience, negative patience. I don't understand it. So it's good to see the boys get a win. Next week against Minnesota will be interesting. That'll be a big one. You beat Minnesota on the road next week. Oh, fucking overreaction. You want to talk overreaction? I'm going to be sitting here dressed in Honolulu blue talking about where we're posting up for the parade down Woodward. They beat Minnesota on the road next week. Holy shit. You're not going to want to speak to me. Honestly, we beat Minnesota on the road next week. You were calling for Dan Campbell's head after the Eagles game, brother. You should never show your face again. I'm going to be insufferable. It's going to be good. It's going to be positive vibes. They beat Minnesota on the road. People are going to start talking about the Detroit Lions. And you've seen it a little bit. People who know more of what they're talking about than random dummies on the internet. Dan Orlovsky, ESPN, like NFL pundits. Not that they really know what they're talking about, but they know more. They're more rational, I think, than Motor City 22, who tells me how bad the Lions are because they haven't won since he was born. A lot of people out there, though, a lot of NFL pundits talking about how the Lions got a decent club. Lions got a decent team there. Yeah, tough loss to Philly. Philly's a good team. Lions got something, though. There's a little something there. A lot of people saying it. You'd be surprised. Don't sleep on those Detroit Lions. Don't sleep on the Detroit Lions. You beat Minnesota? There'll be some people talking. I promise you that. Amon-Ra's unreal. I mean, what more is that we knew he was great last year and he's only getting better, it seems. DeAndre Swift, like feed him. The fact that we can run the ball, dude, is crazy. Is crazy. We can run the ball. It's 1st and 10 and we just run it for 5 yards. What? That's nuts, bro. We have the most 40 plus yard runs in the league right now. What? Jared Goff's hitting guys, making throws, putting balls in tight spots. What? God damn, dude. It's a good fucking time to be a Lions fan. Hey, all we need is this defense to really tighten it up. You give up 21 points a game, fair enough. I'll live with that. We should win those games. 27 to Carson Wentz, there's stuff to clean up. First half was good this week. Fourth quarter was good last week. Maybe next week we put together 3 good quarters. As defense comes along, Aiden Hutchinson starts churning, right? We get a little bit better on the back end. I don't know. I'm not sitting here saying I'll see you in the playoffs, but 8, 9 wins might not be that crazy. Just might not be. You think about it, we got Minnesota twice, Packers twice, and the Bills. Tough games. I don't see why we can't beat Minnesota, though. Honestly, I don't see why we maybe take one from Green Bay at home. Why not? Bills are going to kill us for sure. Everybody else, though, I don't see why not. Lost to Philly by 3. Take care of Washington pretty convincingly. I don't know. Great fucking weekend for the Lions. Horrible weekend for the Spartans. Great weekend for the Lions. Michigan, great weekend for them, but you beat UConn, so I mean, who cares? That's all for today. Next, we're gonna have another episode this week. We'll look forward to the Vikings game. We'll look forward to Michigan, Maryland, MSU, Minnesota. Which, goddamn it, if they lose that, it's the fuck. My world's gonna come crashing down around me. These are going on sale this week. So, first weekend in September, we had the MSU design. This weekend, we had the Michigan design, which if you bought that, if you supported, I fucking love you. You're the best. Michigan fans, hopefully you didn't miss out because if you did, it's too late now. And this weekend, these are going on the site for 3 days. They'll go up Friday. They'll be off Sunday. These Lions designs. Freshest thing you've seen. Jameson and Hutch, are you fucking joking me? Got the streetwear look to it, a little bit of the Warden Lotus style. Wanted to try something else. I don't know. I've kind of done something different for each of them. The Michigan design, I kind of went more cartoony. The state design, I went a little cartoony, little streetweary. This one, I went more like realism streetwear. I like switching it up. I like doing different things. It's fun. And I mean, I'm going to be doing this for every season ever. So, eventually over time, there are going to be designs of all kinds for all different teams. So I appreciate everybody who supported. If you're a Lions fan, if you like the merch, this weekend is your fucking weekend. Do not miss it. I say it on here. I say it in the videos. I write it on Twitter. Don't miss out. It's on sale for a weekend. They're gone Sunday. And every goddamn time I get comments, dude, I missed it. Dude, I missed it. Or follow the second string on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram, wherever, dude. Just listen to these. These are going to be on sale this weekend. So if you want one, tune in. Don't miss out. That's all I got today. We'll be back here either Thursday or Friday. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, all the support, everyone who shares, comments, sends messages, all that good stuff. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. Let's get after it. See you later this week.